Hello, Chef Val here. I thought I would just take a moment and introduce myself and tell you my story because many people ask me, how did you get into healthy cooking and how did you get into macrobiotic cooking? And so I thought I would just answer that question for you. At any time, if you want more information about what I have to offer, you can go to macroval.com. So my culinary journey started when I was very young. My mom likes to tell the story of when I was 9 years old and I already created my own recipe. So I have been cooking for a long time, and my mom is my first cooking teacher. And I owe a lot to her because she taught me all the basics. My first job was at a delicatessen in Brighton, Michigan. I was 17 years old when I started, and by the age of 18, I was the manager of the deli. We made subs, pizzas, soups, sandwiches, all kinds of things. And when I worked at the deli, after I became the manager, there were some customers who came in and they would only order pizzas if I was working because they knew I was making the pizzas. From the job at the delicatessen, I also managed a French bakery. And in the French bakery, I learned how to make bread from scratch. But of course, this was all traditional, average American food. And so that's when I started to have some health issues. I had eczema. I had allergies really bad in the springtime, and I was starting to have a little bit of pain in my joints. So I was already starting to figure out, hey, what's going on? With the eczema that I had, I knew that when I ate white refined sugar, the eczema would flare up and I would have a scratching attack, and it just was not good. I had come to the point where I didn't know what to eat, and I thought the only thing I could eat was salads. And then something wonderful happened. So when I was a little girl growing up, I used to watch the TV show called Battlestar Galactica, and I had a huge crush on the actor Dirk Benedict. He played Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica. And so when I was growing up, I knew that he had wrote a book and that he had overcome cancer. This was always in the back of my mind as I got older and older. And even a few times I would go into a bookstore and I would ask the people behind the counter if they knew what I was talking about. They did not know what I was talking about. So fast forward, here I am. I'm in my 20s and I'm experiencing some health issues. And I had a friend who worked at a health food store. And I went to visit him at the health food store. And there on the bookshelf was Confessions of a Kamikaze Cowboy, the book that I had literally been looking for years and years. I tell this story that like a ray of sunshine like shone down on this book and it just highlighted and glowed. Of course, my friend who worked at the health food store thought I was absolutely crazy because I went absolutely crazy when I saw this book. This book changed my life. I bought this book. I could not put it down. I read it. I just could not put it down. And I discovered something called macrobiotics. I was like, what is this? This makes complete sense to me. This is how we're supposed to be eating. This is how we're supposed to be living. So this is the journey of Dirk Benedict and how he healed himself from prostate cancer. I highly recommend this book. I have read this book many times since then. The first time I read it, it really opened my eyes to macrobiotics. And then the second and third time I read it, it was really about letting go. And so it's very interesting, because I was further along in my journey. So I read that book. It was amazing. I had to find out more about macrobiotics. So I went to health food stores. I started buying books. Anything that had the word macrobiotic, I would buy it. There was a local cooking school that I found was teaching cooking classes. I attended a couple cooking classes and I found out she was looking for a cooking assistant. I volunteered and I went to work at this cooking school and I worked there for 2 years to learn the basics of macrobiotic cooking. Now, along the way, in 1994, Dirk Benedict did come to Michigan and I was able to see him give a lecture. And this is the picture that was taken of the two of us. I'm so proud of this picture. This picture hangs on my kitchen wall to this day. And I was one of those fans that was kind of embarrassing. And I'm embarrassed to say to this day that when I met him, I was gaga over him. I should have been more calm and peaceful, and maybe I could have had a better conversation with him, but oh well. So that was in 1994, and that was 27 years ago. That was when I was working at the cooking school. So in 1997, I decided to start teaching cooking classes myself. I had been personal chefing for people for a few years, where I would go into their house and I would prepare meals and foods for them. I still continue to offer personal chef services, and now I specialize in cooking for people who have health issues. I've cooked for people that have lung cancer, people that have digestive cancer, and so I've also cooked for people with fibromyalgia, allergies. So I can cook for people with specific health conditions, and I also make what is considered a wide macrobiotic diet because I want to reach the average person out there. So I go out of my way to make my food very, very flavorful. But I also can cook the traditional macrobiotic diet that's a healing diet. Now, I believe it was the year 2000 was when I wrote my first cookbook, Perceptions in Healthy Cooking. So this cookbook has some of the first recipes I ever created. My tempeh burger, one of my favorites, macaroni and mochi, my version of my mom's homemade macaroni and cheese. I still make that recipe all the time. And the recipe that most people know me by, my sweet potato salad. Yes, the sweet potato salad recipe is in this cookbook. So I believe it was 4 years ago, I redid my first cookbook and I came out with the revised edition. This has more recipes in it, and some of the recipes have been updated. So this was my first cookbook. And then I came out with Healthy and Delicious Cooking Spring Season. My intention is to come out with cookbooks for all 5 of the season, following the 5 transformations of energy. Now, I have been actively studying the 5 transformations of energy for over 20 years, and I implement those philosophies, those ideas, when I do one-on-one lifestyle counseling. And I do offer lifestyle counseling. You can find information on macroval.com about that. I have counseled people, again, anywhere from cancer to arthritis, Meniere's disease, eczema. Now, when you make healthy food choices, your body starts to heal itself, and then you can overcome some of these ailments. And then after that, oh, this was so much fun. I taught children in an after-school program. I taught 3 sessions, one with high schoolers, one with middle schoolers, and one with grade schoolers. And all the recipes in my Vegan Cooking with Kids cookbook are recipes that I used while I was teaching those kids. And those kids were not vegan, but they loved these recipes. I did this fun fruit creation with them. There's mini pizzas in here. There's a fruit smoothie in here. And then some of the high schoolers wanted to learn how to make sushi or nori rolls. So that recipe's in here. In fact, the high schoolers were so interesting because I bring this nori in there, sea vegetable. Now I have adults that are like completely afraid of nori and they won't even try it. These high schoolers went, "Can I try that?" And I said, "Well, yeah, it's got a kind of a strong taste." So I just ripped off a piece of nori and I gave it to them. And a few of the high schoolers went, "That's really good. Can I have more?" That was the response. I was so excited. So I have the kids' cookbook. And then this was a 5-year project. Ever since I changed my diet and I started to teach cooking classes, I have been teaching classes geared towards different holidays. Of course, we have Christmas and Thanksgiving, and that's fun. But I have recipes for Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. So I put together year-round healthy holiday dishes where I cover all of the holidays. So this has some of my best recipes in it. It really does. This has the millet mashed potatoes and onion gravy, the tofu turkey. This has my coconut pecan truffles. There's also some grilling recipes for the 4th of July. There's my millet sweet potato veggie burger that I've been making for a long time. One of my best veggie burgers is in here. So this is, again, it took 5 years for me to type this and upload all the pictures. All of my cookbooks are self-published, so they're time consuming, but I'm very proud of every one of them because I go out of my way to make my recipes very delicious and also not complicated. If the recipe is complicated, then I'm probably, either not going to put it in a cookbook or it's going to be a special cookbook that I haven't created yet, complicated recipes. Because I like my recipes to be simple and easy, because otherwise you're not going to make them. So last year I came out with Spring Season, Healthy and Delicious Cooking. Again, following the 5 transformations of energy. This features signature dishes for summertime with the whole grain corn, quinoa, amaranth. So this is the latest cookbook that I came out with. I am always in the kitchen creating new recipes all the time. So I have been teaching for 24 years. I've been involved with macrobiotics since 1993, and I still get excited about creating new recipes and using all these ingredients. I offer cooking classes on a regular basis through Zoom, and I also have in-person cooking classes. I offer the one-on-one lifestyle counseling. We can do a consultation over the phone, so that's always an option, and we can do it on Zoom. So I have a lot to offer, and I am very passionate about food. I love food, and I want to thank every one of you for helping support me because I get to do what I love for a living. I love sharing food with you. I love the flavors and the taste of the foods that I teach. And my heart's desire is for you to start using some of these recipes and start feeling better. Because when you eat healthy whole foods, you create a healthy whole body that has lots of energy and is pain-free. And by the way, those conditions that I suffered with when I was in my early 20s, eczema, allergies, and some joint pains, I have none of those anymore. And it really has to do with the lifestyle I live, healthy organic food, whole foods from Mother Earth. So thank you so much for listening to my story. I wanted to express to you what I've done in my life and my background. So keep watching my videos and go to macroval.com. And thank you so much. Remember, your journey to eating healthy begins with one small step. Let's take that small step together.